Good evening and welcome back to the 5th episode of Behind the Workbench. I'm Jon,
I'm De Yang.
and here we talk about all of the things related to Aeons of Adventure and especially in Behind the Workbench. We talk about our design thoughts and why we did certain things and our decisions behind Aeons of Adventure, our upcoming TTRPG Kickstarter, link in the description below. And so we are back from TableconQuest2026. That was over the last weekend. And we met many people in our local tabletop gaming scene, board game, be it gamers, designers, and all kinds of things that were there, right? So Table Conquest, for those who don't know, because you're not in Singapore, right, it is a local board game convention where it covers like card games, board games, RPGs, quite a bit of RPGs, and wargaming, right? It's not super big. It's not Gen Con. I know it happened at the same time as Gen Con, but it's just something that we have here for the plebs who can't afford to go to indie, right? To enjoy the local game scene now. So we're just gonna briefly share a little bit about our experience over there. I think quite a lot of the things that we experienced there was quite interesting, I would say.
I think first of all, this is also our first con.
This is the first con that we actually debuted the Aeons of Adventure physically to show people. Of course, we have had playtests and we have shown different players and GMs and stuff like that. We have already talked quite a bit with other people, but not
in the public setting.
not in that kind of
not in that scale.
Not to that scale, right? So yeah, it's quite interesting. So let's take a look. Oh wait, hold up, wrong one. Yes, this one. So yeah, we were at TableconQuest2026, and we were boothing there. We took a small indie booth, and we were kind of just like running demos for whoever wanted to come up to try out, right? So we were just running like a short, I think like 30-minute demo.
30 to, so it's roughly 30. So a bit of information on that is that for for the playtest we had, right, we actually ran a small like one shot in a way. We used our presets that we will be providing actually, and we also allowed them, if they wanted to create their own characters. So if they chose to take the preset, the game took around 30 minutes, and if they were to create their own characters, it was around 40. So it was it's still pretty fast lah.
So we had this whole thing set up where we had the masteries available to see. So there's a sneak peek for those guys who are following our mastery series, our mastery review, right? So we printed a little picture with all of the different mastery preview images, right? So this is a quick sneak peek. And then we have the races as well, right? So with today's post, we've covered the cut of all of the races that we covered inside the stream itself, and yeah. With the available masteries up to level 5 and the races, we ran a little demo that was at level 1, right? So this demo took you from level 1. It went through, I think basically one of every single encounter. So you have one social encounter, one challenge encounter, and one combat encounter, right? Really, really simple, really, really short. And the goal was to let players try what these encounters look like in Aeons of Adventure, right? Which realistically, it's almost the same 3 rolls, but with slight changes here and there, right? Depending on your decision making, rather than forcing it upon your like mechanically forcing your skills or whatever. So the rough idea was like, okay, you pick a character, you pick a pre-gen, or you create your character. So if you want to create your character, we ran like the 8-step one that we'll probably cover again in a future stream. But basically, you choose a race, you choose your masteries, you set your stats, expertise, and then you go, right? That's pretty much it. The rest of it is things like choosing your appearance.
It was 7 steps because there was no equipment.
Yeah. So we didn't run the equipment part, and we didn't really do the background thing, the appearance thing.
It was
not that important, right? It was very, very brief. So we wanted to keep, because we're doing this like in the middle of the hall, right? So people are moving by, people are watching, they're looking, and then you don't want to take too much time sitting in the middle of the hall. So we try to make it as brief as possible. If they didn't want to, they could pick one of these level 1 pre-gen sheets, right? In the full release of the basic set, the pre-gen sheets will be printed from level 1 to 5. All of the stats are allocated for you. Of course, the inventory will be empty, but all of the stats will be allocated for you, and the skills will be chosen for you if you really don't want to just decide any of these things. Now, personally, I would encourage people to try it out. But of course, if you have friends come over, they don't want to spend the time thinking, you just want to run like a one shot that's level 3 or level 4, of course the pre-gen sheets are going to come at that level already, right? So it's something that's just convenient to have. Right. So for the guys who came, I think they range from about 1 to 3 players max, because the table is you can see the photo over there, right? Like that's a really small table.
It's really small, and because we have certain things that we want to showcase, right? So for example, you will actually, I think in the first image you can see like we are actually showcasing all the cards that we have for the masteries. So we have certain stuff there, so it's really taking up quite a spot there, and the table itself didn't have much width.
Yeah, it was like what, like
it's
not, I don't
it's
think
not even 2 meters.
Not even 2
it's not
meters.
even 2
Yeah, it's
meters.
like 1.5, 1.6. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a really small table.
I think
I mean, we got one table, to be fair, right?
I mean, next year moving forward, maybe we could have taken 2 when we have more things to show as well. Yeah.
More physical, like showcases,
correct,
to display.
Yeah, so we have usually 1 to 3 players, right? And because the event itself is not fully a very specific target audience, so we are talking about like quite generic, not say very generic, but people who are interested in tabletop games.
Yeah,
so
broadly,
correct.
Right.
So this means that we have people that only play TCG. We only have people that who have never heard of D&D. Right? They are actually trying out. Yeah.
Right,
so we have those kind of people who actually tried out as well. Yeah. And even for those people, I think our runtime was half an hour.
About the same.
It's around the same. Yeah.
I think it took slightly longer to explain the basic concept of what an RPG is or TTRPG is to someone who has never played one of these before, right?
Correct.
Like you have guys who have only played TCGs. These are players who are very much focused more on like rules and strategy and stuff like that, rather than actual like social role playing.
Yeah.
Right. So the way that they approach it is like, oh, like, am I allowed to do these things, rather than, oh, I want to do this, and then how do I do this, right? Rather than fitting around the rules. So these are kind of things that we take for granted as players of TTRPGs, D&D, Pathfinder, all this stuff, right? I think we're just too used to it, lah.
I think there's also a few, like 1 or 2 guys that have only played like PC games.
PC games.
Quite
I guess so.
like BG3 lah.
Yeah. I guess. Oh, yeah. That's true.
There's a few that plays like Baldur's Gate 3 only, and like that's their only frame of reference also.
Yeah. I think there was quite a crowd when I asked them like, have you played a TTRPG like D&D or whatever? They said the only point of reference was BG3, right? And I think that is pretty interesting to see like how they went on to try out the demo and what they did, right? So that was something that was cool. So to get on more about the demo that we actually ran, so yes, we create a character, or you choose a level 1 pre-gen. Your skills are done for you. Right, level 1 characters don't have many skill options. So once you have chosen your mastery, basically you get the first skill of each mastery, and that's it. Right. Fun fact: nobody chose to specialize only in one mastery.
Oh yeah.
Not a single player did that.
That was also a bit confusing for me, because I was thinking, is it because of the way we worded our words, where we were saying that you can pick up to 2 mastery?
Yeah, so you can pick up 2.
So they all consistently took 2 and didn't think that they can just take 1.
I mean, no one even asked.
Yeah,
right?
No one asked. Yeah, that's true.
I did say it every single time when I told them they can pick 2, right? I said, yeah, you can pick up to 2. You can choose 1 as well. You can 1, you can 1, or you can go 2. Right? And they always pick 1.
Yeah.
Every single player chose 1. So I guess that says something about a little bit of like the multi-classing appeal, right? Like the idea that, oh, I get to mix and match. And in that case, mix and match seems to always be more popular than just taking whatever it is. So that's just a fun fact, right? I mean, we didn't have that many players. I think in total,
the sample size isn't that huge.
Yeah, I think it's like 50 or 40 in total.
50 maximum.
Yeah, on the high end, it'll be about 50 or 40 players, right? So yeah. So first thing is, yes, nobody mixed and matched everybody mixed and matched their masteries. Nobody just chose a single mastery, right? The second thing is that a lot more players took pre-gens. So this is fair because you're in a small situation. You don't want to take too much time. Completely fine, right? For the people who did choose races that were most popular, they were, right? So I guess you could say like traditionally these are tiefling lovers, right? A lot of players love to pick the tieflings.
I think fun fact on that point is also because we were giving out like race A5 postcard. A5 was it A5? Basically a small like flyer / brochure of the races. And I think we only printed 5 of each race.
Yeah.
So 5 of each race, and I think the Darius was the first to run out.
Oh yeah, we ran out of
Yeah.
this thing in like the first day,
And-
like really, really quickly.
And I think a lot of people after that was like, is there still more? They wanted the Darius.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And that was when we were like, okay, this is weird.
Simply-
It's not that it's weird, but it's like, oh, Darius is really somehow popular.
It is
Yeah.
more popular with them, I guess.
Mm.
And the second thing is, even for the pre-gens, the Dara was also more picked.
Mm.
So that is Matthias. So that is, I'm not sure if you can see
The reflection.
this
Okay,
guy right here. Yeah, okay lah. Yeah, so he was the most picked pre-gen. Right. He's also the cleric and the spear using guy.
Mm.
So that could have contributed to it, but I think not so much.
I think it's just the
honestly.
horns.
Yeah, I think they just like the horns.
They
and
just
the
like the
look of it.
horns.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they picked that, and then after that we went into the little one shot, and the one shot
Mm.
was basically you were stuck in a prison, and irregardless of how many players you are, you're stuck in the prison together. You had to find your way out of the prison. You know, you can sneak out, you can break the cells, you can go and fight the guards, you can kill everybody, and then eventually you make it out of the prison, right? And this whole little sequence is actually going to be encapsulated into our upcoming sort of like primer. So if you've seen what the Sword World has done with their primer, it'll be something pretty similar.
It's in other in other Kickstarter TTRPG, it will just be your free one shot adventure.
Yeah, it's basically a free
it's
one
basically
shot.
a free one shot adventure.
But it's not quite
it's not exactly a one shot adventure.
it's not so full that it's a
Yeah.
one shot. I would say that this is more really for like a test, like a taste
Correct.
test of the different
Quite
mechanics that are
specifically,
available.
if you are referring to the Sword World primer, right? It's the first part of the Sword World primer.
Yeah.
Because I think the second part is more of a team combat. I can't remember. Yeah.
Team, I'm not
I
too
think
sure
it's
about
a group. It's a group combat thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole idea is that there will be a free download coming with the, ideally before the campaign, probably with the campaign, that will allow you to try out. You download it for free, right? You get a try, you get to take a look at some of the cards, maybe create a character, and then take it through a simple scenario. We do call them scenarios, right? So a simple scenario where you just try out a single combat encounter, social encounter, and challenge encounter, right? So just take a look and see if you like what you're looking at in this little primer, lah. Right? So we ran through this primer for a lot of the demo players, and I think the reception generally was pretty good. I think they're all pretty
it's
fast.
pretty good. So the reason why we will say that is also because we are probably the loudest booth in our. So we were in this area called the Indie Zone, and there was I think a total of like 15 booths there.
15,
around
more than 15. No?
I think around 15
right,
because
it took 2 tables.
quite a few of them took 2 tables. I think there's a few guys who took 3. Right. So if we somewhere it's around 15-ish boothers there. And we were probably the loudest in that zone. Yeah.
Right, and the reason why I said that it is fairly successful from what I could tell was that we had a decent amount of players who were TTRPG players and non-TTRPG players, right? I mean, if you're a TTRPG player, if you have played many systems, if you have GM, right? I think if you pick up Aeons of Adventure, you'll find it really easy to run. You'll find that it is very straightforward, it is very streamlined, but at the same time, there's some level of crunch when it comes to creating a character and running combat. Especially when it comes to running combat. There's a fair amount of crunch. Yeah, it's not rolling, adding kind of crunch, but it's crunch in the sense that, the tactics and strategies that are available to you are quite intricate. However, for the players who have never played an RPG or a TTRPG in general, I think the rate in which they're able to pick up on the game
is pretty fast.
Understand the game, right? I just give them a preset. I give them like a base understanding of what the resolution system is. Like roll 2d6, add number, beat number, right? I think all of that was super smooth.
Correct.
Pretty much nobody had an issue with it.
Okay, so we already knew it was going to be pretty smooth from our previous playtesters, correct?
But our previous playtest, we playtest with people who have played.
Correct.
Most of them have played.
Previously, we knew it's because we already have playtested with people who have played D&D or like
any RPG,
similar TTRPG type. So and at that point of time, their pickup rate was already quite fast. So we were coming into TableCon and thinking that okay, the pickup rate would be fast, but we would expect it to be slightly slower or
like some friction, right? Because
friction,
these are people who
correct, especially towards people who are unfamiliar, correct, which is I would say like 50-50 of the playtesters.
Yeah, but half of the
about
playtesters.
half is
and
and
a decent amount of TableCon
correct.
is board games and card games after all. So I think it's fair that most of them have never played RPG.
I think the main issue is also okay. This is not really a main issue. It's more of like the way it's laid out is because there is a booth
Zone?
zones, yeah, that runs full like one shots.
Mm,
So I think
right,
most
right.
people
That's
are
true.
the actual D&D or like tabletop enjoyers are actually there instead.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, because we were situated in the indie zone, and the
Mm.
indie zone is typically board game developers
Most
and
of the
indie devs.
correct, most of the guys at the indie booth, right, were actually board or like card games.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough, because in Singapore, I think we're like one of two TTRPG devs. Pretty much.
Currently one of two that is officially out there.
Yes.
That's public.
That is
Yeah.
like publicly out there and
Yeah,
actively, you
yeah.
know, showing our faces and
Mm.
showing the game off, right? If they're out there, feel free to reach out. If you don't mind chatting, you know, talking about design and stuff like that, right? But generally, I think in terms of Singapore, the space for TTRPG is very, very small. There are solo journaling adventures, which is quite interesting. Personally, I've only tried like one or two.
I think
It's not really my
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Right? I want to fight people. I want like tactical combat and referee. You know, basically a war game, right?
I want communication.
Right, we want communication. We want it to be a social experiment. Social experience.
I mean, it is a social experience.
Kind of. Right, but yes, we want to be a social experience. Whereas like single player and solo journaling is a totally different kind of experience, which is cool, but not what we were working on.
But I think that is also something that is worth pointing out, because I think maybe 20% of the people that came and visited us the first few questions they asked was like,
oh yeah, can you play this by yourself?
Is there can you play this by yourself? So like one shots, no, not one shots, sorry, solo adventures and stuff like that.
Solo rules,
solo rules,
solo
correct.
rules, yeah.
I think that's the current trend for quite a lot of tabletop games in general. I think I think this is affecting wargaming as well. When I was talking to one of the boothers out there, they did mention that solo wargaming is also quite growing right now. Yeah.
Well, I think when it comes to solo play in general, it is, there are multiple issues, right? Like when it comes to whether they can find a place to play, whether they can find friends to play with, you know, and scheduling, right? The biggest headache of playing any tabletop game with friends. Not even tabletop, like just meeting your friends are difficult sometimes, right? So I understand the desire for solo rules now, right? And the primer or the free download that will come with the the taste test, it is meant to be played solo. So you can play it with like one other player, but generally it's meant to be experienced by yourself, so you can try out the rules by yourself and you understand how to run and play.
Correct.
Right. We don't want people to just only run or only play. Right. So if you run the solo adventure, you're basically running and playing for yourself. Right. Will there be solo rules for the basic set? No. There will not be solo rules for the basic set. For the purpose, because this box is not the biggest box, all right?
It's
like
for scale, it's not very big, yes.
So with all of the components of our cards and things like that, if we were to include solo rules, I think it could really blow it up. Yeah, scheduling is the absolute bane of every TTRPG and war games as well, right? Like any tabletop game, honestly.
Even TCG have issues.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's only two people.
TCG is easier.
It's easier, don't get me wrong, but it's like,
because the game is short.
Yeah, it's short, right?
It is short. It is short. But
unless you play the Commander.
Yeah, Commander. They're slightly longer.
Slightly, yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to solo rules for Aeons of Adventure, I think it is something that we can look at in the future. It is plausible, especially with cards and things like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to fitting into the basic set, I think the amount of rules that will be required and the pages that it will take up will blow up the box.
It might become its own like basic set by itself.
Yeah. So that is something that is definitely out of the question for the basic set. But it is something that has been brought up and is very interesting, and we'll probably look at it now.
Yeah, that's the main reason why we kind of looked at the Sword Primer, because they actually did it in a very smart way where it's both solo rules, a solo one shot, as well as like you can make it there's two parts to it basically.
I think the other one that was really good was like Into the Mist or something like that. It was one of the comic, right? The comic TTRPG that you can download and try it out. I think that was really smart. You might look at something similar to that as well, because they also use sort of like a card system that has very basic like addition to their stats. So yeah, that is something that we're looking at, but not for the basic set in terms of the rules. But yeah, that's when it comes to playing by yourself in Aeons of Adventure. And so to those guys who came to the booth and said you want to play alone, it's like, okay, I mean, it's not really supported, but you could try, right?
Yeah,
you could try.
I think
You
most
could
of
try.
our answer was like you can theater mind the thing.
Yeah, you could try it out.
Yeah, you could
Right.
try
But
it
it is
out,
not
yeah.
designed for that. It is not
Yeah.
designed for that right now.
So
Not for the basic set.
right now, the basic set is actually designed for around 2 to 5 players.
Yeah, 2 to 5 players.
Yeah.
At least one GM. Right. The monsters can scale. That's not an issue. Right. The number of monsters we can always increase and decrease. You want to reduce the HP of a monster, go ahead. Because we don't have like level scaling CR. So if you want to adjust the stats, I think it's not that difficult. You want to just cut it down. Not a big deal. But when it comes to playing by yourself, I think the main issue is arbitrating like the results, right? So because you're gonna be biased to yourself, basically. Even in solo journaling, yes, there's no win, so there's nothing to be biased with, right? Just creating whatever story you really want to make, right? So I think in that sense, yeah, it is what it is, lah. It is what it is.
I mean, the only, this is not even a guarantee. This is just we will try and look into it where we will look into we do want to look into one shots
Solo play,
yeah, because that is something that I actually, when I was doing quite a lot of the research, right, even for the basic rules, I saw people was like wanting solo rules alongside the basic rules, but ultimate decision here is like what you said, we can only kind of do either or, and I think going for the group one is much better at this current stage. So there is a chance that we will do the I keep forgetting the name. The solo rules, but there is no guarantee or whatever right there. Yeah.
And okay, so on to the next point, which is that a lot of the people who tried the demo also were card game players.
Yes.
Which is quite fitting for a demographic.
Not card game main, but they have either touched card games or they've only played card games. Right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of TCG, CCG. Because we were right next to a tournament.
Yeah.
So it was a Bushiroad, like White Schwartz, Card Fight Vanguard, Buddy Fight,
it's a
Hellworld OCG.
It's a Bushiroad showcase in Singapore or something like that.
It's a
Something
card
like
show.
that. Yeah, it's a card show.
The official card show. So these players came over and they have never touched an RPG in their life, right? And they're like, what's role playing? They don't even understand. Like, the face that they gave me when I say it's like, what do you want to do now? They're like, what do you mean what I want to do? I can do what can I do? I was like, whatever you want. Right? I've just given you all this information, right? So there's this thing, there's that thing, and there's that thing. Usually I use 3 lah. We give 3 pieces of information and be like, okay, what do you want to do with this information and how do you want to get out of your situation?
So that explanation was not only for the TG players. I think is generally quite used. We use that question quite often when we are, especially because like what we mentioned earlier, which is like roughly 50% of the players that tested have never touched an RPG before. So we needed to explain to them what is even RPG in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah. And that percentage included the TCG players.
Yeah. But what's really interesting was that when it comes to the TCG players, right? One look at the card and they roughly understood what it was.
Yeah.
Right? You barely need to do anything. I gave them the reference sheet. So here's
I think that was
what the reference sheet looks like.
That was the point of not say issue, but when we run it for D&D only players or TTRG only players, right? We kind of have to like tell them what does the card do. But it's expected lah, because it's kind of when we design the UI for the cards, right? We were referencing like multiple card games as well as like how do we best provide all this information on the card. Yeah. So as a card game player, it'll be easy for them to recognize because it's a very familiar site and UI for them.
I mean, it's already like very well iterated on. It's actually really efficient. I'm referring to the other card games.
Yeah.
So it's already very efficient, very iterated on. So a lot of these things are well explored, right? It has been proven to work already. So when they look at the things and they see that, oh, these things are very similar, I just tell them which one is which number is which cost, and they're like, okay, I got it, everything is fine, right? And so they manage to understand things like skills, synergies very quickly, right? And then you tell them like, oh, you have X points every turn and you can spend it, and then it all comes back at the end of your round. You're like, okay, I got it. Right. What they didn't get is that, oh, I can use this to do something creative. Right. I could freeze a grate, I could smash someone's head open with a fireball or whatever in the distance. Right.
They are more rule followers in a way. Yeah. You can put it that way. Yeah. Meanwhile, the D&D guys or TTRPG guys, right? They are like, okay, I can do this anytime, right? And they start to do like really crazy stuff. So it's like, oh, there's a pool of water and I have like frost spells. Let's just freeze it.
Right.
Correct.
Which is cool. Which is totally valid.
Correct, which is what we also want from them, from the players, which is like because we did tell them that you could use these skills like anytime you want, right? Similar to D&D, right? So this is when they realized that, oh, it's very interesting, and they started using skills outside of combat more and more often. Yeah.
And on that same note, the next adjacent group of players who tried our demo was actually
the PC
video game players. Right?
Yeah.
And I believe it was someone on Discord, I think Mildred mentioned it, that generally the guys who play video games would pick up faster on certain mechanics in TTRPGs, right? Especially as we do more and more modern TTRPG game design, like structures and systems that actually draw more upon video games than vice versa, right? Because previously video games would take on from D&D, right? Like for example, critical strike chance is something that is from your traditional TTRPGs where you're rolling a dice, you get a percentile, right? Which is why some games still have 5% failure rate and success rate because it's a net 20 and a net 1. Yeah. But there's no need for that when you're in a video game, right?
And then usually your crit damage is 200%.
Yeah, it's 200%
because it's just double damage. Yeah.
Right, so it's 100% like damage modifier. So these are things that are now so commonly found in video games that when you see a similar system in a TTRPG,
you're able to match it.
You immediately understand it, right? Things like critical, yes. I mean, I think at this point, everybody who has played any kind of combat-related video game understands what a critical is.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure if I were to tell every single RPG player out there, like obviously D&D players know what they're talking about, but if I told like someone who only plays Call of Cthulhu or something else, and I say like, oh, like critical damage, how much is critical damage? What's criticals, right? And there may be different kind of understandings and reasonings behind them. But if we talk to a general video game player, they're gonna have a standard understanding, which is like, okay, like you're typically your 5%, and then it's gonna be double damage or something like that. Right. So it's just so much standardization of terms and systems and mechanics that these guys are able to quickly pick up on a lot of the design philosophies. And well, it's true because we also took a lot of these mechanics and philosophies from MMOs and video games, right? Because we grew up playing these games. So I think it makes sense. Like, it makes sense that a lot of them do understand, right? Now, realistically, are there any TTRPG players that I personally know that do not play video games? I think that's like zero.
Yeah,
I think every TTRPG player I know plays video games.
Yeah.
I don't even know many people who don't play video games, honestly, who play other games. Board games, maybe. Board games, I think there's a fair chance that you don't play a video game. But if you play a card game or you play a TTRPG, you definitely play video games.
Yeah, okay, and we do include mobile games here, lah.
So, yeah, but including mobile games.
If we exclude mobile games, then the numbers will be very little, lah.
Right.
May or may not be little.
Yeah, I mean, at least in Singapore, right? At least in Singapore, I think it is so accessible that everybody does do that. I understand perhaps maybe overseas, not so much, might be a bit more rare. Well, I won't say it's rare, but it's less.
It's not
as common. Yeah, not as rare.
I think also because of the industry that we are in, and that's why we have this more, I would say maybe biased numbers as well, where we have a higher chance of meeting someone who play video games or any type of game than not do anything. Not do either, correct. I think it might be biased towards our industry as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so we ran the demo for all of these people, right? Generally, I don't think anybody had any issues speaking about all of the mechanics. So hopefully when we do release the free, the primer, the taste test, whatever you want to call it, you guys can try it as well and give us a feedback as to like, oh, perhaps how can we further improve the readability and the understandability of the mechanics and whatnot, right? So yeah, look forward to that, right? And besides that, I think one of the interesting things were about the races that was chosen and what people really appealed to, like what they really liked.
So I think we bring this one step back, which is the way the booth was set up, right? So swap to
oh wait, hold up.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we have this banner that is like facing towards the walkway in a way, and from this,
you can see it over. Yeah, you can see it
you could see here. Sorry. So you could see that it's pointing like
on that side.
That side, this side. Yeah. So this banner, which is the one behind me as well, it's facing towards the crowd, and there is a shelving right at the bottom there that you can see that is like beside the QR code there is, which shows all the races and stuff like that with the cards, right?
So the cards.
Yeah. So I think the race was the one that quite a lot of people saw,
Races.
and I think it got a lot of attention.
Mm,
It pulled a lot of people here, and then when they came over, right, and then we had also the Eclipse Sense, which not surprisingly a lot of people wanted and was like asking if it will be provided and all.
We didn't have that many.
We didn't have that many, but we gave out.
We had like access prints, so we
access
gave
print.
all of it out in the first day.
In the first day. Okay, so basically every freebie that we had was gone by the first day.
Yeah, we gave a lot of it away.
And we had to reserve some because we needed it for the playtest.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. As well as the flyer lah, right? So I think from that, then a lot of people first impression was like they will be looking at the race as that race image, right? And then they'll be like, oh, this looks familiar. And they were like, oh, this looks nice. Like, and then they'll be like, oh, I want to try. Right. Then it leads to like, oh, a race. They want to they want to try the game because the race looks cool as well. Right.
Yeah, it is a bit different when it comes to the range of races that we have compared to what you might traditionally find in a more Western TTRPG, because the choices that we have made are very much more Asian leaning.
Yes.
Right. We basically
is Asia centric.
We basically don't have a single monstrous race, right? Like you can't play any monstrous race available in the basic set. Right? We have chosen the 5 most humanoid looking races that look either cute or cool or pretty, right? Rather than something that is a bit more unique in terms of like minotaurs and like actual tengus and stuff like that.
Snakes.
Like nagas.
Naga, yes.
Right. So on that note, that brings us to our second point. So let me just swap this over here. I have a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Bam. So we have just released this post yesterday, right? And we showed off the clip as to why we created going through the Vienna, the backgrounds, and some of the. I think we showed one racial skill. So I think it was the dodging one, the shifting feathers one.
I can't remember.
It was shifting feathers. Yeah. So the Viana and the Viana was the very last of the 5 races that we made in the basic set. And it is also, the last because it's alphabetically the last. Right. The Viana is our version of basically the Tengu. Tengu from Guild Wars. The Guild Wars Tengu. Or if you look at D&D, the Kenku from the Kenku from
I think the
D&D.
Kenku is nearer.
I mean, they're both the same actually. Kenku and Tengu are 1 for 1. In Guild Wars, not the actual Tengu not the Japanese
because they do have that in Guild Wars too.
Yeah, the Tengu can't fly in Guild Wars too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're literally Kenku. So the Tengu in Guild Wars are literally Kenku in D&D. Right. But the reason why we chose this was also because we wanted something that was basically the equivalent of like catgirls in your Japanese media in terms of fantasy and stuff like that, right? We wanted the maximum like I don't know how to describe it, like ayayaness, right? Like cuteness to the character. So we came up with this lah. So it was the bird girls, right?
But take note, this does not replace catgirls.
Yeah. This does not replace catgirls. This is just currently what is there.
That is also not a hint, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not hinting that it will be a catgirl.
This is currently what we have.
Yeah.
Right. So this is supposed to be the cute race option, right? For normal size people, right? Not the claimant size people. Right.
That's a different kind of cute. That's different.
Yeah. So the whole idea that we wanted here was that this is a very Asian inspired thing, right? I think in D&D they had like character, which is very old at this point. I don't think they ever did a new character version like the Orient. I think they call it like Oriental Adventures literally. Yeah. I don't know why they stopped, but I guess there's some like sensibility things lah. But I didn't see the issue honestly, because it's quite cool that they were covering a lot of these like Eastern themes, right? So we wanted to carry a lot of that Asian theming over. So Koreans, Mongolians, the Chinese, Japanese. I think those are the main inspirations.
Basically the places that's near us.
East Asia, right? Because we're in East Asia, right? But we are Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Right? But this is more East Asian. Definitely more East Asian. It's a mix. It's not a strict like oh, this is strictly Japanese or strictly Chinese or strictly Korean.
There's no direct correlation here. Yeah.
You will see that there will be many like
Inspirations.
The core inspiration here is definitely the sacred birds from Japan. So the Japanese have like certain birds that they treat as sacred and they represent certain things, right? And the names of the characters are typically also going to be Japanese related. But when it comes to things like culture, the way that they run their society, all this will take more of a note from the Chinese culture and the Korean culture, right? I think mainly Chinese in terms of the societal structure that we have that we have set up. So that was one of the core inspirations behind the Vienna, right? It was very much Asian, so you can see in their in their attire, right? And the other thing we wanted to do is like we wanted to do something that was a little bit more unique in terms of like societies in TTRPGs, in fantasy worlds. I think one of the things that were very underrepresented was what was available to the drow in D&D. I think this is, I'm not sure if this is in the previous editions, but from my understanding from Drit's books and stuff like that, the way that the drow have their law set up is very much like a domineering matriarchal kind of society, right? And I think they are kind of forced to be evil for the most part, alignment wise. Right? We don't have alignments in the same way that D&D has, but my understanding is that the drows are basically almost all evil.
Yes.
Lawful evil, typically. Also chaotic evil. One of them. Whatever lawful was, right? Minus draw, minus Dritz, because Dritz is special. He's like the main character guy. So taking from that the kind of inspiration and the fact that they have a Raven clan and their Raven clan leader is the Raven Queen. But that's not what her name is, okay? So don't come sue me, right? So the Raven Empress in this sense. So taking a lot from those inspirations, we have created what is the Reba Empire for the Viennans, and they are set in the east of Carinthia. But they will not be. Actually, no. There's quite a bit of a law bit inside the adventure that's provided in the basic set as well. Hopefully you if you guys get the set, you can take a sneak at what the laws like what the law bits review about the race.
Info drop basically.
They're not gonna be so
forefront.
Forefront about the reviews.
They're not so forefront about it,
There's only so much space that we have. It's like flavor text and description of items and things like that. We're not gonna drop like exactly what everything is in a 64-page adventure book, which is already considered very small. Right? But I think when it came to the design of the Vienna, we mechanically took more of the inspiration from things like Kenkula in D&D. And the idea of like how do you be a bird without the flying part. So not Aarakocra, right? It's Aarakocra, but without the flying. So the Kenku, basically a Kenku. Yeah, I think that was something they were looking on very early on. So what exactly represented birds?
That was one of the few things that we were looking for actually, which is we needed a cute race. And then we were like, okay, let's not take cat girls because that's way too generic right now. Right. What will be eye-catching and unique enough to catch people's attention as well as eyes? And how can we implement it in a way where it will be interesting to play with as well? So what are the mechanical effects of this race itself?
So one of the things that we started on pretty early on was Featherfall. So Featherfall is for those who don't know or who haven't watched the video yet, Featherfall is a trait that you get on a Vienna, irregardless of what skills you pick. So initially we had Featherfall on every single passive skill, and then it's like, okay, then why is this on every single skill? It should be a passive trait, right? Because we had it, we put it at the front of both the skills, right? It's a passive component of both racial skills you pick. So Featherfall is when you fall from when you fall from your jump height or up to 2 times your jump height, you do not take damage, and if you do take damage, any fall damage, it is halved. Right? So your average Vienna is gonna be much better at falling. Generally, just falling down things, it's gonna be okay for the most part. If you fall off a really, really, really high cliff, you're still probably gonna die now, right? Like that, you can't fly. Okay, there's no flying on the Vienna, right? It's just that because they're light, they're literally bird-like, so their bones are more hollow. They are they're just lighter weight-wise, right? The official thing is they are half the weight for a human of the same height, right? So if you are, for example, a 6 feet tall Vienna, you will be half the weight of a 6 feet tall human. Right? Typically, let's just say they are 80 pounds, 80 pounds, 80 kg, they will be 40 kg. So that will be like 200 pounds to 100 pounds, roughly like that. My pound to kg conversion is not amazing. I only know 200 pounds is 90 kilos because of MMA, right? That's the only reason I know that. So yeah, that besides that, Featherfall, after that, in terms of designing the racial skills for Vienna, it wasn't so straightforward because there wasn't very good options, per se.
There wasn't okay. So for the designing part of racial for Viennon, right? The issue was finding something that is common among all the bird type races. So I think that was the main hurdle here, which is like, what is something that no matter what clan, so we call them clans lah, right? No matter what clans they're from, right, you will have this trait, right?
You can have
this trait. So whether you're with a raven or sparrow as shown here, you're able to get this, right? So that was like kind of the main hurdle. If you were to go into like raven specific or sparrow specific, it would be way easier.
Yeah, so what we did settle on in the end was something that was dodging related, right? And I'm not sure if the second one was immediately about the jump thing. I feel like it was something else.
No, it was not. It was something else.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't quite remember what it was, but basically we have a dodge ratio and then we have a jumping related ratio. So jumping is definitely something that the Viennans are much better at compared to the other races. There are balance implications when it comes to the ability to jump better, right? But it's a limited number of times that you can use it, lah. So it's not free. You use stamina
once a day.
Might times a day.
Oh, might times.
Yeah. So there are implications to it. If you don't want to play a character, a Vienna who jumps a lot, then there's always the other option, which is to dodge, lah.
Which is still pretty strong, actually.
It's still very powerful.
I think throughout the playtest, right, that was the higher pick one, actually. Also.
Okay, there's something that's interesting, which is that not many players picked Vienna when creating their character. So as mentioned just now, most of them pick Adera, or they pick a human,
right? Yeah. Then after that is the claim.
Claimant and elves were tied. So Vienna were definitely the last when it comes to creating a character. When it comes to presets, Vienna was picked more because I suspect it's because the pre-gen looks cuter. Right? That's my suspicion lah. Right? For reference, the bird girl here is the pre-gen or the preset for the Vienna. Right? So yeah, when it comes to the presets, the most common one was human. Human was first. Okay, human and Dara, yeah. So right? Eric and Matthias were pretty close to each other lah. Then the Vienna was next, right? And then I think it was Claimant and Elf.
First, then Elves.
Yeah, so Elves were the last when it came to pre-gens. So I guess people just don't like tomboy elves lah. at least not the crowd that was there. So they like tomboy elves less, right? So yeah, I think that was something that was quite interesting lah. It's just a little point of data for a small sample size.
A sample set.
Not a super big sample size.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm quite curious. Like, what are the typical type of races, right, that TTRPG players gravitate towards, irregardless of system, right? So like, there are some players who, no matter what system they do, they'll play human. They always play
male human swordsman.
Yeah, male human fighter. Yeah. Right. You go to a sci-fi setting, male human fighter also. I just punched that guy. Yeah. Right. Then there are some players who always pick like kind of like a demonic race or like a shorter race. Or maybe they pick like the elves. No matter what game they play elves. You play Warhammer, you play Eldar. Yeah. Right. Right. Then you play, if you're the human guy, you play Warhammer, you play Space Marine. Right. As in the human players. Yeah. So I'm honestly quite interested. Like, what are the type of races that TTRPG players gravitate towards by default? Right. Probably run a poll on that later. Yeah. And on that note, okay, is there anything else you want to for the Vienna?
Vienna, actually, there's nothing much because I think like what we said, right? The pick rate was the pick rate was for creating a character is less than what I would have expected. Actually, honestly, I would have expected it to be higher than the elf. Apparently not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't expect it to be last, but for the it's pretty much in line for
The rest of them.
the presets then. Yeah.
Mm,
Then yeah, it was pretty tough to create the it was not tough, it's mainly thinking what is common between all the clans for the Viennons.
The different type of birds.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's move on to the very last point. So this is something that I thought about like quite last minute because we saw a comment. Well, I saw a comment in the Clayman video recently that we uploaded last week. That said that we shouldn't do a movement speed penalty, right? And I thought about it. I'm not sure personally I care about the movement speed penalty, but it seems like a lot of people online do care about the movement speed penalty when it comes to short races, right? So like small races traditionally had 25 feet of movement, right? And then I was like, okay, let's take a look at some of the new races that are released in things like the D&D before 2024.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking like Modern Kindness Tomb and stuff like Modern Kindness Tome. Right. And I realized, yeah, actually a lot of the small races have 30 feet of movement. And I'm like, did people were people so affected by the movement aspect of this that they were encouraged to shift that design, right? Because the 25 feet of movement thing is a simulationist design philosophy, whereas the 30 feet is a balanced philosophy, right? We're talking about being fair, but RPGs are not about being fair. RPGs are about being fun, or
So regarding that, right, when I was looking at the all short, small races being 30 feet, right, my first thought was that are they just across the board making everyone 30 so that it's easy to remember? Because if that's the case, then I guess, but this means that you lose to certain players a unique trait about their character. Right? Because it's actually something that I see as something that I want to work around. So things like you have to pick for example in D&D, right, I'll find a feat to ignore
negate
that,
the
to negate.
downsides.
Or I just, since I'm small, I will just always have a mount. Right? So those are things that I will find a way to go around it. And to see it being removed and becoming 30, right, makes me feel like, okay, then I don't have to fix it.
It is a bit less flavor.
Yeah.
But because on the other hand, right, the races that gain movement speed didn't lose their movement speed bar. So it's not about balancing in that case, right? It's about removing penalties. But I'm not sure that is interesting either. Because I mean, I understand people not liking like Boonbane ideas, which is you gain something, you lose something. Right. That kind of design philosophy is not for everybody, right? But I think that design space in general can exist. It's just that not everything should be boon and bane.
It cannot be too oppressive in that sense.
Yeah, it cannot be too oppressive.
Removing fully, right, it just remove like the design space as well, like I mentioned. And this is quite a very personal opinion, which is if you were to remove boon and bane, right, conquering your bane is now pointless. Because there's nothing to conquer. So everything is just a bonus, which makes it not as interesting anymore. Because it's like you can't. It's like basically I have a flaw system, but I no longer have flaws.
Yeah.
So I think that's also weird because in both in D&D and a lot of TTRPG out there, right, when you create a character, your personality traits and the most important one,
your flaws.
Correct. So I think that is a very interesting thing when they decided to remove like the negative modifier and penalties.
Yeah, the race penalties basically, right? I agree. Personally, I think that when it comes to race design, flaws are way more important than what you get. Sometimes not getting something is the flaw, right? So for example, if let's just say the Dara, right? Dara gets inner light. So review inner light in the Dara video. Inner light means that the Dara basically gets second win every day, right? And that is something that's really, really, really strong. Like it's really strong in Aeons because healing is difficult to come by, right? Not picking a Dara means not having inner light available, right? And sometimes that alone can be the penalty already, right? However, I think having an additional penalty that you have to work around adds a lot of flavor to a character. Provided it does not completely hamstring your character.
So, correct.
But I think that there's a caveat right there, right? Which is that you cannot, like, it should not make something completely unviable. In the sense that, okay, traditionally, gnomes, if you want to play a gnome, you're basically trolling if you're playing like a melee gnome or like a gnome barbarian, because not only are you small, you have 25 feet of movement, you can't reach the guy.
Disadvantage on.
You have disadvantage on heavy weapons, right?
You can't wear. Can you wear heavy armor?
I'm not sure. At this point, I think if you're not a cleric or something, you have like a movement speed penalty to 20.
Yeah.
Okay, I think only for clerics because you need heavy armor proficiency. But if not by default, you have a 20-foot speed penalty, right? So you're basically trolling at that point. But in Aeons, right? Because the way that we have social what do you call that? Stamina points and the way that mounting works, that's less of an issue. You basically get as many dashes as you want up to your stamina points in Aeons of Adventure, because you can move as many times as you have stamina points, right? And the second thing is mounting is really easy in Aeons of Adventure. As long as you have somebody who is one size larger than you and willing to let you mount them, you can basically hop on anybody's back and just have them carry you to the correct position, right? So I think that there's something to be said about the type of adventure you would have as a small character, because you have to work around this slight, it's five movements speed. It's not like you're handicapped, right?
I think it's a bigger problem in D&D where movement is
where you only have one move.
It's a phase, right? Where you can only move 25 feet. So every feet counts in that sense, correct?
And you don't freely dash, because dash is your action, unless you're a rogue.
And when we include all those things that affects or uses like your movement speed, right? So things like getting up, when you're getting prone and then you get up, and then like things like crawling, stuff like that, right? And I guess in that sense, every feet hurts, right? But I think in Aeons, right, like in AoA, because we are running on stamina, like I mentioned, it's not as bad. I'm actually very curious to see like what is other people's reaction towards this, which is 25 feet being
basically a 5 feet penalty for being short. Right. Of course, it is compensated in other ways, because the ratios that come with a character who is 5 feet, right? You have other options. So the way that ratios work in AoA is that depending on your race, you're allowed to pick different ratios within that race. So if you're a claimant, you have claimant ratios, right? You can pick from the available claimant ratios. And generally the claimant ratios are gonna already compensate for the 5 feet loss. Right, so that's the design space around it. It is a boon and a bane if you think about it that way, right? And at the same time, it also means that something like the Viennons, because they have innate featherfall, their own ratios don't have to be as powerful compared to the other ratios, because they always have an additional passive on, basically, right? So I guess as a baseline, that is the way that is what makes the race a bit more special. And I'm interested to know that, interested to find out whether other RPG players out there, do they agree? Do they think that 5 feet of movement penalty is the end of the freaking world, or it's something that actually allows them to better roleplay their character?
Or does it even matter?
Like, do you even care? Have you even noticed that there's a 5 feet movement cut? Right, because you always play a wizard or a ranger or something.
No, but like, how much does 5 feet actually affects your gameplay in a way where it's actually a detriment?
I think for D&D it does lah. If you're a melee character, it definitely does.
How often does it becomes a problem? Like that's something that I'm interested, because like if you're always in like range, in melee range, right, and then you start the combat in melee range, this 5 feet bane does not affect me at all, right? And that means any positive that I get from my racial bonus is only
simplified.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, from my very brief research into Reddit, seems like a lot of people care lah. right. So, I mean, but at the same time, people who are on Reddit or talking about things on YouTube and stuff like that,
are there because
they're there because they already care about these issues, right? So, I mean, I'm interested to find out. So leave your thoughts in the comments or in the chat. I think chat should show up in the VOD. So if you want to leave it in your chat, you can also leave it in the chat, right? I'll be running a poll. So I'll be running polls on X in general. So you can follow our social media as on in the description below. We have like our pre-launch Kickstarter page up. We have the X Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, and of course the YouTube channel itself lah. So please like, subscribe, follow, press the notification bell so you'll see whenever my face shows up in one of the thumbnails of the videos as we clip these design diaries and of course the reviews. Right. So Last week we
Speaking
didn't
of
do a
that,
review.
yeah, speaking of that,
Mm.
so we will be doing a review this Friday.
Friday for the US, and
US,
Saturday for Singapore
Singapore,
or
Asia.
Asia. Yeah.
Yeah. I think now is UK though. So UK will be it's UK time now, right? UK prime time.
UK prime time, I think so. I'm not sure.
I don't
Right.
know. I can't. Yeah.
I'm
But
not
basically,
the best
we'll
with
be
time zones,
posting all of this information on X. So yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you can also join our Discord channel if you want us to directly message you and you want to directly message us. Right, ask us any questions. Right, feel free to do so. We are more than happy to share information about Aeons of Adventure. Right, and we are happy to share if you're interested in Aeons of Adventure as well. So yeah, with that, is there anything else you want to go through?
I think that's about it. Even admin stuff is done.
Yeah. So I'll show you guys again. Let me swap over to the main one. Right. So we're gonna do the spiel for the pre-launch of our Kickstarter. We're gonna launch the Kickstarter ideally at the end of this year, by the end of this year. Right. We're still going through things like logistical confirmations, things like that. But in terms of design, we're pretty much done. Right. So it's gonna be the basic set. The basic set is gonna come with two books. Two books. One rule book, one adventure book that goes from level 1 to 5, 7 quests. It's gonna be many hours of play. You can run 7 one-shots, you can run 1 5-quest adventure if you want. Right. Comes with up to 12 masteries for masteries, right, with 5 skills each. And then we'll have 5 basic races, and we will also have 3 armor types. Right. So cloth, light, and heavy. All the cards are available. So for players, you have about 100 plus cards. And then for GMs, you have, same thing, but then you also have monster cards, and monster cards are jumbo size. Like they're double the size of a playing card, basically. Right. So they're jumbo size cards, and they will contain the stat block of all of your monsters and things like that. As well as a region map, right, of where the adventure will take place. So this is the region of Elzalon. It is kind of like the central continent of Corinthia. Right.
Grid map.
And it comes with a grid, 1-inch grid map. And
dry erase.
Dry erase, grid map and dry erase, character sheets, and the markers itself, of course. And it comes with tokens. So the tokens are going to be 1-inch tokens. So your standard 1-inch tokens.
So the tokens here, right? Just to be very clear, these are punch out tokens.
Yeah, these are the cardboard punch out tokens.
These acrylic that we have here.
We probably won't be able to
okay, well, at this point, we can't confirm until our production site is able to get back to us on that.
I mean, do let us know if you want acrylic tokens as an add-on. Like if it is something that you personally like, or if you don't care if it's a punch out, like a cardboard punch out token, also leave it in the comments below.
So that is something that we actually have a takeaway from TableconQuest, where people was interested in the acrylic tokens itself. Yep. So, and then when we told them we were going to punch out, they're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice. I think the plastic ones are nice. I mean, I do like holding them. But they're a bit heavy and they're a bit larger.
Not really, but yes. Yeah.
It's definitely heavier than a cardboard token.
But it's not.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's not heavy. Right? If you have minis at home and you're playing on like resin prints, it is nothing to you. Right. Okay. And so with that, this has been the 5th episode of Behind the Workbench. I'm Jon.
I'm De Yang.
So we'll see you this Saturday, Friday, whichever way you're at. Yes. All right. Cool.